The following program is paid for by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Absolute Mortgage Company, NMLS number 81395 and Washington CL number 81395 is an equal opportunity housing lender. Tina Mitchell, MLO number 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Absolute Mortgage. Visit AbsoluteLoans.com or call 888-90-HOMES for cost information. You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell. Sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, November 8th show. I'm your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. Thank you for taking time to talk money. It's a great day to talk everything money. That's why I'm here to share a wealth of information with you with amazing guests. And if you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but I'm here to answer any questions or to connect you with the guests that I have in studio today. Please call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And my lineup for studio today, Janice Hammond with Sunrise Financial Services. There's a lot of complicated decisions that need to be made when planning for retirement. The earlier you start, the easier it's going to be. And Janice is here to discuss advanced retirement strategies. Also in studio, Joyce Joneschiet with Encore Living Interiors. Life changes can be exciting, and transitioning into senior life is no exception. Less responsibility, more time, and a simpler life. What a great life ahead as long as you prepare for it. How can you age in your home safely and what you can do to prepare? That's what Joyce is going to be discussing with us today. And my last guest in studio, Brad Van Vechten with Private Wealth Solutions. Personal financing planning. A financial planner advises you on how to best save your money, invest your money, and make it grow for you. Why would you not want to work with the best? And I've got them all in studio here today. Great information and great guest in studio. For more information, you can call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. You'll want to definitely hold on to that number. You can call anytime during the hour, again, to connect and talk with any of my guests, or go online to themoneyhour.com. And let's go ahead and start out with a little money chat.
Money.
Questions to ask before purchasing a home. You want to take a look. Obviously, it's a personal decision on whether home ownership is for you or for not. And if you're thinking of purchasing a home right now, you surely need to get the best advice and look at all of your options out there. Friends and family members are going to have their opinions on what they think that you may do. There's going to be different opinions as far as the real estate market and what the real estate market is going to do. I say if you plan on holding on to real estate as a long-term investment, there really isn't a bad time to buy real estate because the market's going to always recover. History will show that. So even if you do buy at the height of the market, you may be getting at the low at the interest rates environment. So you want to look at look at everything and just know if you're going to hold on to it for long term. It should be a good investment for you. But here's a few questions that you want to ask yourself. Why are you purchasing a home? Truly the most important question to answer. And forget about the financing for a minute. Why did you even consider purchasing a home? For most, the reason is nothing to do with finances, but a study in the Joint Central Housing Study at Harvard University reveals that the 4 major reasons people buy a home have nothing to do with money. Home is a different investment than any other investment avenue that we have because it's something that you live in. You're going to raise your family. You're enjoying this property. And so it's a real emotional purchase that you're making and different than other investments that you have. So here's what Harvard's University reveals. The 4 things that people are looking at: a good place to raise children for them and a good place for their education, a place where you and your family feel safe, more space for you and your family, and control of the space. What financial benefits will you and your family derive from owning a home? The answer to that question should be the biggest reason you decide to purchase or not. Also, second, where are your home values headed? Obviously, we want to look at what the future appreciation has as the investment side of it. And it's hard to predict what the real estate market is going to do. But again, look at the history of the real estate market and see what the trends are. We're always going to have up and down markets. We're going to have flat markets. But again, over the history and the long term, you'll see the real estate market always appreciates and gets back to a good investment place. Now, here's what the experts are predicting for the latest surveys. Home values will appreciate by 4% in 2015. The accumulated appreciation would be 19.5% by 2018. And even experts making up the most bearish of surveys still are projecting a cumulative appreciation over 11.2 by 2018. Now, next, where the mortgage interest rates are going, this is my arena, and myself and all experts, we've been continuing to say that the interest rates are going up, and we've seen a little bit uncharted area as far as what's happened after the mortgage crisis with the government purchasing mortgage-backed securities and really artificially keeping these rates low. And that's why it's been hard to predict what the interest rates are going to do in the near future, except we've been consistently saying that they're going to go up. Now I think you're going to hear the experts, including myself, say that they're going to go up, and they really are. Quantitative easing has came to an end, and that was the what was stimulating and keeping the interest rates low, even with the stimulation of the market improving. So my best guess is that we're going to see interest rates get up into the 6% by the end of next year, by 2015. I think that's a good estimate to look at. So if we take a look, let's just look at the history of interest rates, because they've been low for so long. I think it kind of seems like the norm. It seems like the norm to me, and I've been doing mortgages since May of 1995, but I can't really remember over the last, after the last few years, the rates have been so low, and really what it felt like when we were in a different interest rate environment. Now, I do have to say that I wasn't doing mortgages back in the 70s. Interest rates in the 70s average 8.86%. So on a $300,000 loan, that would put your principal and interest payment at $23.85 a month. I wasn't doing mortgages in the 80s either. Thank goodness. Interest rates averaged 12.7% back in the 80s. And so that same $300,000 loan would be a principal and interest of $3,250. Now, in the 90s is when I came in. On an average, the interest rates during the 90s was 8.12%. So that's a principal and interest payment of $22.25. I'm rounding these numbers here. And in 2000s, our average has been 6.29%, $18.55 in principal and interest. Now, year to date for 2014, the average has been 4.33%. Same loan amount, $14.90. So even if they went up to where they were in 2000s at 6.29%, we're looking at $365 a month higher in a payment, borrowing the same amount of money. And you hear me talk a lot about buying power, because really that's what it boils down to, especially when you're getting into the market, in the market that we're seeing right now with the properties having a lot of appreciation. It's starting to get a little bit tight out there to keep your payment where it's reasonable and buy the property that you want to. It's $50,000 in buying power if you're doing a low 3.5% down payment. That's what that difference in monthly payment means in buying power from today's interest rates if we get up into the low 6%. Now, if you're doing a 20% down payment, that's buying power a difference of $70,000 in buying power. So just something to think about. Again, it's a huge purchase if you're looking at getting into the real estate market. Especially for those of you that are first-time home buyers. I've talked a little bit differently with rent versus owning, some different things that you want to look at and consider before being a homeowner versus a renter. I've got a lot of great resources on my website. Again, go to themoneyhour.com, pick up the phone, give the show a call at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150. You'd like to talk with me directly to run any numbers, but thought I'd put a little bit of tease out there during Money Chat for these interest rates, because they are not going to stay forever. Coming up next on the Money Hour, as you approach the day you begin in your next phase of life, you face a series of decisions that could spell the difference between a comfortable retirement and one with financial stress. Janice Hammond in studio a lot with me. Just happy to have her back. She'll be here after our commercial break. Sunrise Financial Services right here in 1150 AM KKNW.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge, and we can get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
When it comes to your retirement, don't compromise. Call Sunrise. The number one mistake made when planning for retirement is to do nothing. If you are within 10 to 15 years of retirement and don't have a plan for retirement income streams, call for your complimentary consultation today or visit Sunrise online at www.sunrisefinancialservices.net.
Hi, this is Janice Hammond with Sunrise Financial Services. You can reach my office at 206-420-8520. That's 206-420-8520.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, November 8th show. Each week I share expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and how it affects your money in our local economy. I'm here if you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, and you can always call into the show to speak directly with any of my guests at 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And right now, my first guest in studio, Janice Hammond with Sunrise Financial Services. Janice, thank you so much for coming back in studio. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
A little bit about Janice. Janice recognized the need for a more conservative approach to investing that strives to outpace inflation and a firm that caters to the unique needs of each individual. So after 10 years in the financial industry, Janice opened her doors to Sunrise Financial Services in order to help people avoid common mistakes when planning for retirement. So advanced retirement strategies, Janice, is our topic for today. And we all know that there are a lot of things going on in our economic environment right now that makes for somewhat of an uncertain future regarding the direction of our economy, especially looking onto our retirement years with potential rising of interest rates, national debt, inflation coming, and us with the possibility of having higher taxes every year. Everyone wants to be able to protect themselves and their family from this. So how do we know this? Today, I have someone who can answer that question and tackle it for us. And Janice, a female business owner and financial planner of Sunrise Financial Services. Again, thank you, Janice, so much for being here today.
Sure, I'm excited to get going.
So Janice, here to go over her advanced retirement strategy, she's going to break it down into 3 simple stages and explain how these can be beneficial to everyone.
Exactly. The planning that you do now, no matter what age you are, will greatly affect your future retirement goals. And like you said, there are 3 main stages. The first is the accumulation stage. Next is the conservation stage. And then last is what I call the distribution stage.
So if exactly do these stages tackle, aside from the obvious accumulation of money for retirement, Janice?
Well, each of them has their own different focus, but overall we're looking at tackling tax problems, making sure that the estate transfers to legacy the way that it's supposed to and as tax efficiently as it's supposed to, and then the obvious, not running out of money.
So let's go ahead and start out with the beginning, the accumulation stage. You said that this phase begins when you're working and in a position to begin saving, or perhaps already are. But what exactly should someone at this stage do to be planning for retirement?
Well, the main focus of this stage is investing in things that have tax benefits, because I don't think, and I think most people don't think, that their taxes are going down in the future. So the young generation has the opportunity to take advantage of tax-advantaged investments in the future. So aside from taking advantage of buy and hold strategies and employer-sponsored plans, but there's other types of investments like Roth IRAs or life insurance. So if you're just starting out in this stage, you'll need to get your expenses in line first and foremost. And that's know where your money is going. How much do you spend each month on bills and necessities, and then how much do you have left over?
Yeah, Janice, that makes so much sense. If I have a listener that doesn't know where their money is going, it's likely that they're overspending and possibly losing money to fees and late charges. Financially wise people are smart with their pocketbooks.
Yeah, that's right. Paying yourself first is a huge step in developing your savings plan. Your money should come out of your checking account automatically each week as though it were a bill. And start with a comfortable amount that you can sustain over a long period of time. Don't bite off more than you can chew because you're just going to get disappointed and frustrated. And then just if you don't miss that, increase the amount as you go.
Yeah, and if it's automatically taken out of your account each month, you might not even notice it, especially if it's a management amount, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've noticed. People always think that it's going to be very difficult, but it doesn't even faze you because it's money that you're not spending. It's just like another bill. And another thing to be aware of is if your job offers any retirement plans or benefits. If they do, don't wait to start this. The earlier you start saving, the better. Even if you're contributing the lowest amount each month, you're still putting something aside, which is better than doing nothing, which, as we all know, that's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah. So, Janice, you mentioned investments with tax benefits. Can you give an example to my listeners of what this might include?
So funding a Roth IRA is a great way to save for retirement, and the gains are never taxable again. However, not everybody is going to qualify to fund a Roth IRA because it's based on a few criteria. So you'll need to speak with your advisor or CPA to determine if you're eligible for that. And then some companies offer a Roth 401k program, and I would suggest looking into that because it's a great option. But if you're looking to kind of take your plan next level in this stage, then you're going to look at more tax-efficient investments that have no contribution limits, such as life insurance. Many people hear life insurance and shrink away, but it has some amazing features and can have tax benefits as well.
Sorry, you've said many times, I mean, any product, it's if it's a good product or a bad product, it's just whether it's the right product for you.
Exactly.
So, Janice, these all seem like really good ideas to start with. So can you tell my listeners more about the conservation stage?
All right. So a little bit of the accumulation stage can overlap with the following stage, which is the conservation stage. And this is when you are anywhere from 0 to 15 years away from your retirement date. And at this point, you're conserving your assets and have likely put them to work in preparation for your retirement. And you may have children in the later years of education or even grandchildren at this point.
So, Janice, what should people do in this stage to be doing to prepare for retirement? Is there anything specific that they can be doing?
Well, at the bare minimum, you should have an automatic savings plan set up and contributing to an employer-sponsored plan for the buy and hold strategies and dollar cost averaging. And if there's one available, if you qualify, contribute to a Roth IRA. Also, you should think about taking control of old pensions, 401ks, and any other employer-sponsored plans. Because some company plans are great, but you never know if there's something better out there that you could roll it into. And it's also wise to be able to begin considering your beneficiaries and if you'd like to leave a legacy behind for them. If this is something you're planning to do, I recommend finding a trusted estate planning attorney that you feel comfortable with to help you with the legal aspects of that.
So putting all your final wishes on a cocktail napkin, probably not a good idea.
Although it is popular, but probably not.
So is there anything else people in the conservation stage should be considering or that you would recommend for them to do?
Well, to maximize this stage, so really taking it next level, we would include things such as planning for your long-term care expenses. One of every 3 people ends up using long-term care at some point or another. Mm-hmm. And I typically recommend for my clients to look into obtaining a home equity line of credit versus keeping extra large amounts of cash in savings as well.
So the conversion stage seems like the most crucial time to get all of your financial and retirement planning set. Once you get to the distribution stage or retirement, I'm assuming this should slow down a lot, or what can you see in this final stage?
Yes, this is what you've been working hard for and saving for all of these years. It's time to just sit back and relax. And if you have prepared yourself, that's exactly what you should be doing. But you've got, hopefully at this point, you've got stable income streams that are not dependent on market-based accounts, that you will not outlive, and you've set up some sort of long-term care plan. And this is so big, and nobody does this, that you're reviewing your beneficiaries and legacy planning documents at least every 5 years, but we recommend every 3. You'd be surprised how many people neglect this and have big changes to make.
Yeah, neglecting this review has caused big problems for your family who's left to deal with the estate. And I know, Janice, that you highly recommend letting your wishes be known and to don't make your families make the decision for you. And also the guarantee that is guaranteed that's going to be a mess if you leave it up to them. So find a trusted estate planning attorney and who will help you draw the proper documents and trusted friend or family member to help execute your financial wishes so that you can, that someone in this stage to do the boost to the current plan, correct?
To maximize this stage, you can reinvest your required minimum distributions, or RMDs, that most people have to start taking at 70 and a half, especially if you have a sizable amount of assets in retirement accounts. Your financial advisor should include these RMD amounts into your retirement income plan so you're not subject to overwhelming amounts of income tax because of unexpected income. And again, we cannot stress this enough. Keep your beneficiary information current, especially if there have been recent divorces, deaths, marriages, or, kids born into the family.
So is there one thing that would apply to all the stages that you think is important for my listeners to know, Janice?
Yes. Know your numbers. Know what your budget looks like, and make sure it's a realistic budget. You know me, I always say I'd like to be a size 2, but that doesn't mean I buy size 2. I buy size 8 because that's what actually fits me. And a lot of people think, well, I'm only going to spend this much in retirement, but you're going to spend what you're spending now.
Yep.
And you need to plan on that. So have a realistic budget, and base it on your current lifestyle, and know what the values are of your accounts and where your money is going, and plan for the future.
Such great advice, Janice. I just love having you here and sharing your wealth of information with my listeners. And again, you can call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. I can connect you with Janice, or you can go to themoneyhour.com. And if you search by her name or company, you can pull up all of the previous segments that I've had with her in studio here. Also, her website, sunrisefinancialservices.net. Janice, thank you again for coming back into studio. Always appreciate it.
Sure. I like to inspire people to save.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, in your golden years, would you like to maintain your independence and age in place? Talk to an expert on how to make this happen. Joyce Joneschiet with Encore Living Interiors right here on 1150 AM at KKNW after this short break.
Hi, I'm Max Unger, center with the Seattle Seahawks. Did you know that during summer vacation, many Washington State kids often go hungry? We have to tackle this problem now. So join me and the dairy farmers of Washington to spread the word about Summer Meals for Kids program. Schools, communities, and organizations will be providing free, nutritious meals to children 18 and younger. There's no registration and no IDs required. Again, all the meals are absolutely free. To find the site nearest you, visit parenthelp123.org and let's tackle youth hunger together. Thank you.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge, and we get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
Have you ever thought about it? Where should mom and dad live? Should they live with me? Could they stay in their home? Is that even possible? Do you need to make this decision soon? Have these questions been revolving around in your mind recently or for a long time? Then you can trust Joyce Joneschiet with Encore Living Interiors to help you start finding the right answers for your questions. They will work with baby boomers and seniors who want to stay at home as they get older, but their homes aren't safe. Encore Living Interiors brings beauty, your personality, and security to your environment, empowering you to live a fulfilling life. Encore Living Interiors, better design for the second stage of your life.
This is Joyce Joneschiet with Encore Living Interiors, and you can reach me at 253-221-3592, or you can go to my website, EncoreLivingInteriors.com.
Encore Living Interiors, better design for the second stage of your life.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, November 8 show. I've built a network of elite industry professionals every week sharing their knowledge and expertise with my listeners. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast. To talk with any of the guests that I have in studio, please pick up the phone, call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, I have Joyce Joneschiet with Encore Live Interiors. And there are many benefits to aging in place, maintaining your independence, stay healthier, keep your routines, and minimize your costs. And so in your business today, we're going to talk about how seniors can stay in their homes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think probably most of us want to. AARP did a study that 87 to 89% of us would love to stay at home and would rather do that.
A lot of preparing and some advice to do that. So excited to talk with Joyce. A little bit about Joyce is an interior designer who started Encore Living Interiors in 2008 to provide a service that seemed to be missing for those seniors and baby boomers who want to age in place in their home, especially for those who want not only to have a safe home that assists in fall prevention, but also a comfortable and beautiful at the same time. She saw the need to design spaces that could also accommodate to the disabled and injured veterans, with homes that could be enjoyed and bring dignity and pride into their environments. She published Encore Life Magazine, a free quarterly digital magazine and a blog that offers resources, articles, and tips to baby boomers and travelers, money and finances, aging in place, and health and wellness. Joyce also is a radio show of her own host of Encore Living Radio, a weekly show that's a lively and proactive discussion with baby boomers and seniors, providing solutions and resources to the active life. Since then, she's been seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox. So glad to have you here on my show, and it's always nice to interview another host, and I'm just really passionate about seniors myself. I've gone through some things with my dad passing recently, and trying to make sure that my mom is prepared for when that time comes for her. So it's a subject that means a lot to me, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
So Joyce, tell us a little bit about you and your organization and what's your background. How did you get started in what you do?
Yeah, I'm also a family caregiver. My mom just turned 90. And my dad's 87. So, I care for them in my home and make sure that everything's done for them. So I understand where caregivers are at and how important it is to be at home. As far as where I started, actually interior design is a second career for me. I have done lots of other things, worked in insurance, not financial planning, but very important. And did lots of other things, worked in computers and relocation. So was a realtor for a while and had quite a different background. So I come from an understanding of, transition, relocation, from all of the different aspects of life. And
a lot of those bits and pieces that all come together to make this a smooth process.
Yeah, so I have a real holistic view of what I do.
So Joyce, what about aging in place and universal design?
Okay. That's a term that not everyone has heard of. A universal design is actually more of an all-encompassing factor of aging in place. Aging in place is like a piece of that. So universal design is where, as designers, architects, and other folks who do living spaces, as well as commercial buildings, take into aspects. So like ADA design is a part of universal design, and something that a lot of people don't really think about, but universal design is clearly seen in just like a small example would be like a curb cutout, for example. That's something that we enjoy, at any time, and it was originally designed for a wheelchair user, but who uses it now? Moms in wheelchair or moms with strollers, with babies, pedestrians, bicyclists. So that's just a benefit of universal design. Aging in place, and that piece of that is helping to design an interior where folks can stay at home longer because it's a safer environment. So if you're a person who's contemplating, should I stay in my home? Should I not? Let's take a look at it. Let's see if it's something that we can actually make happen. Could it be as easy as a grab bar that we need to install, a ramp, something like that?
So, Joyce, why is fall prevention so critical in regards to aging in place?
Oh, it's like the number one thing that we do as designers and as architects, because once a fall can happen, it could be that your life has changed in an instant.
Yeah.
And I know that because of my own uncle. He fell. He was actually with us as well. We had quite a house full. And he fell in an instant, broke his hip, and his life was changed. He had to go into rehab. He never left. And so he wasn't able to be at home any longer. Yeah. And that's not anything we, want to happen or think about, but it can happen. And so putting things in place that don't look like a nursing home, that looks like your home, but can help prevent that fall, that can critically change, how you live your life.
And same thing with my dad. Once he fell, it was that was it.
Yeah.
And so, Joyce, why is your services important to consider, and will these increase the home's resale value?
I think really, as a former realtor, I could say that's probably the case. I couldn't give you an example of the percentage, but I would say that there's so many more folks who are looking for environments and looking for living spaces that can help them. People are looking at the future now and going, if I move into a new home, if I remodel and stay where I'm at, what can really make the difference in preventing me or to keeping me here longer? So I think it increases your resale value because there's so many more people who are looking for that type of dwelling, who need a safe environment, especially if they have loved ones.
Sure. So, Joyce, someone might be listening and years away from this, or not having seniors living with them, and maybe thinking, by making these changes to their home, is it turning in and looking like a nursing home?
Oh, not at all. No. And what's lovely about universal design is that it's actually quite invisible. There's actually pretty grab bars that you can have in your home that don't look like that. Okay. There's handholds that you can have even like along your wall that can help steady yourself. There's different things like that that can really make a difference so that your home is safe and beautiful at the same time.
So, Joyce, I know every guest that I have in here representing all areas of financing, whether it's financial planning, it's a realtor helping you plan for a home purchase. For myself in, my arenas, mortgages, estate planning, anything. It's all about planning and planning ahead. How does that make a difference in what you're helping your clients with?
Oh, for example, I have a quick story I can share.
Okay.
I had a gal who had MS and then had a stroke. And while she was in rehab, her son said, actually mom's shower is not usable. And of course, they thought of that right before she left rehab. So we had to quickly install a new shower that had a zero clearance so she could use it. Her husband, who had a bad back, had to go into the shower, use a dining chair. You can actually see this video on my site. Put in a dining chair in the shower stall and lift her out of her wheelchair into the dining chair. And so we were able to really empower her by building a zero clearance shower, having a seat that folded, having a shower head that she could grab onto right close to her and use it. And how empowering was that?
Yeah, and I bet too, listening to that story, Joyce, that in the planning stage it's a financial commitment as well. But if you plan early, just as Janice talked about, just taking a little bit and putting it aside, and this is something you've got to plan for the financial piece of it as well, correct?
Exactly.
So
yeah,
starting that early.
Critical. And having actually long-term care insurance is one of our funding sources. So if that's something that you have and you want to stay in your home, definitely talk to your agent about that.
Okay. And if one of my listeners is remodeling or building a new home, are there some things that they can do to put into place so that they can be ready for the future?
Oh, exactly. You're right. Putting a bracing in the ceiling of your bedroom in case you need a lift above your bed. That's already in place. Especially if you're building a new home, putting 2 closets on top of each other in the first and second story, so you can put in an elevator in the future. There's just different things like that. I actually have a report that outlines different priorities.
So if you're just tuning in, I'm talking with Joyce, and she's an interior designer that really focuses and has passion to help our seniors to be able to stay into their home. And if you want to connect with Joyce personally to get information for yourself or for your parents or grandparents and helping them to get to that next stage, pick up the phone, call my show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And I love stories. I know my listeners love stories. What's your favorite client story?
Well, I think probably the one that I just shared is probably my favorite. But right now I'm working with a client, and he has difficulty seeing. And so we're doing the whole lighting in the house. And we're putting in step lighting along the hallway. It's all motion detected. So as he walks into the hallway, it comes on. He also has an exercise room, and we're able to put lighting in there where he can see where he's stepping and going. And probably my favorite thing is in the bedroom, is a large bedroom, and we're actually doing rope lighting along the path that he needs to walk to get to his bed safely.
Wow.
So the OT who's working with me, we both kind of laughed. It's kind of like the airport runway.
Nice.
So he
right
knows
in his
exactly
home.
Where he's going. Yeah.
I think I need that sometimes too, depending on how sleepy I am.
Exactly.
So any other quick fixes that people can do to make their home safer?
Oh, first thing, please remove all of your throw rugs. That's just huge.
Yeah. My grandmother fell on my coloring book, and to this day, I feel she's not with us anymore. But to this day, I feel guilty because she was never the same after falling on my color book. Is terrible.
Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. So please remove those area rugs, throw rugs, all of that. It's just a quick thing to do right now.
Yeah. And even if you don't have someone, a senior that's living in your home, you have your parents and your grandparents coming in and visiting and staying with you. So really doing some of these things to be safe overall, I would imagine would be a great idea. So in closing, how can my listeners find you? What's the best way that they can connect with you, Joyce?
Oh, okay, yeah. EncoreLivingInteriors.com and also EncoreLifeMag.com.
Okay. How do they listen to your podcast for your show? Right there on your site?
Yes, it's right there. You can watch all the shows, listen to those. Also on blogtalkradio.com/Encore Living.
Wonderful, Joyce. Thank you so much for coming in studio, and I'm excited to come in and talk on your show as well here in the, I think we're scheduled in December.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Tina.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, are you smart and safe with your financial investments? Brad Van Vectum with Private Wealth Management Solutions right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Mortgage fraud has been rampant since 2007. Many folks don't know they have legal rights. Find out if your mortgage loan has wrongdoings and fraud. Magnum Law Group will do a free audit of your loan documents. Facing foreclosure? Need to stop a foreclosure sale? Magnum Law Group can help. We have experts with valuable knowledge, and we get results. Have you decided to short sale your property instead of a foreclosure? Magnum Law Group has the experience to negotiate better and faster for you.
Hi, this is Deborah with Magnum Law Group. Please contact us at 425-454-4300. You can visit our website at www.maglamlaw.com. magnumlawgroup.com or call us at 425-454-4300.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good with a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update!
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Well, welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM, KKNW, the Saturday, November 8th show. I'm empowering my community, providing you with opportunities and solutions when it comes to anything regarding your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, you can call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or online at themoneyhour.com to discuss anything regarding money with myself or any of the guests that I have in studio today. And in studio right now, Brad Van Vechten with Private Wealth Management Solutions. What does it really take to become financially smart? What should you be doing with your money? And just excited to have you back in studio again, Brad. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And a little bit about Brad. Brad is an independent, fee-only certified financial planner. He's been helping individual families and small business owners identify and achieve their financial goals for over 20 years. He works with you personally to understand your needs, map out cohesive strategies, and provide ongoing guidance to help you succeed as an investor. His professional credentials include certified financial planner, certified investment management analyst, chartered life underwriter, chartered financial consultant. Brad is the founder of Private Wealth Management Solutions based in Bellevue, Washington, and state registered investor advisor. And today we're going to be talking with Brad about personal financial planning. Brad, thank you again for joining me for studio.
Pleasure to be here.
And do you have a recommendation on how my listeners can find a qualified financial advisor?
So like anything these days, there seem to be more and more websites. You can go on the internet and get qualified advisors. A couple of websites that come to mind are Paladin Registry, Wiser Advisor. And there's a website actually offered by FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, called Broker Check. And you can go on there and get information about registered investment advisors, whether they have any disciplinary actions or anything like that that are outstanding or been settled in the past, frankly.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. They've got commercials out there that they run on TV of financial advisors and really making sure that they have the qualifications that they need. And doing research and just understanding who you're working with is so important, especially when you're working with someone that's taking care of your money. So, Brad, what should my listeners be looking for when they're searching for their financial advisor?
Well, I would also encourage your listeners that if your friend or neighbor or family member recommends somebody to you, you might go on this broker check at FINRA and just check them out, for your own benefit. This is what I would be looking for if I were looking for a financial advisor, a certified financial planner designation. It's a rather stringent 3-year program that advisors go through. It just validates that they understand the big picture, and that second thing you want to look for, by the way, is someone you can communicate with, someone who doesn't use jargon as an example. And I always encourage my clients, if you go to an attorney or doctor who talks over your head, walk out.
Yep.
Someone who your listeners thinks has their best interests at heart, I think is very important. And then understanding how that advisor gets paid. You have to ask. Some, like myself, volunteer how they get paid, but sometimes you have to ask, how do you get paid, and what types of products do you use, as solutions. Financial advice solutions.
Makes total sense. And in just having that list of questions to understand who you're working with is so important, regardless of what what industry you're in. So what does a CFP do?
Yes. So CFP is an abbreviation for Certified Financial Planner.
Okay.
So initially, they gather information, identify your financial objectives, and create a roadmap, if you will, that you can follow through life. And you check in every 6 months or so to see if anything's changed in your life. Have you had a child? Have you had a divorce? Some other catastrophic event that might affect the plan. But it generally provides a roadmap that you can follow. And it's going to include estate planning, long-term care, things like that, not just investments.
Yeah, and I think it's important when any time that you have, and Janice mentioned it when she talked in her segment as well, and any life changes that you have, you really need to check with everybody that's involved in your financial plan. Absolutely. Mortgage, CPA, financial planner, your realtor, or you might be doing something with your real estate property. So what does it take to earn the Certified Financial Planner designation?
I want to say that I'm not here doing a commercial for the CFP designation. But it's a pretty stringent course that you have to take. So, you have to have a four-year degree. I've graduated from a four-year accredited school, and they're very stringent about that. And it's unfortunate because, there are people that haven't graduated from four-year universities that are very qualified and very good advisors. They can't earn the CFP designation. I also want to say, just because someone doesn't have the CFP designation doesn't mean they're not a qualified advisor with your best interests at heart. Okay. You have to have a minimum of 3 years experience in financial planning. And you have to pass this rigorous exam after studying for 3 years. It's a 2-day event, exhausting. And you have to pass this exam that covers not just depth but breadth of knowledge in the financial planning. And then lastly, you have to continue, have 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years. And disclose anything that might happen during your career, such as a bankruptcy or anything like that. That has to be disclosed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Brad, if one of my listeners signed up for a comprehensive financial plan with you, what is the process and how much do you charge for that?
So initially there'd be a complimentary initial meeting. Free. Okay. And that's about to learn about each other, determine if I can help them, if they want to be helped. I've had couples in the office who, sit down and after a half hour you discover they are worlds apart in terms of what direction they want to head and what their objectives are long term. And so I, kindly say, let's come back once you figure this out for yourselves or go to a counselor. So once we've passed that threshold, I charge $200 an hour to put together a financial plan for them. And as I said to you, it's soup to nuts. However, if somebody just wants a limited scope of work, such as retirement planning or college planning or long-term care or something like that, happy to do that as well.
Okay. And what types of investment solutions do you see or do you use?
Do I personally use? So I'll tell you what I don't use is annuities or insurance products, as an example. And, the following may or may not be appropriate for everybody, but this is what I use in general. Individual bonds, not bond funds. Not a fan of those because you're subject to what other investors do in those funds. I use what are called separately managed accounts for stocks, equities, and those are stocks that trade worldwide, so international as well as domestically. A separately managed account, you actually own the stocks yourself. You can see them in your account. When the dividends get distributed, you see those happen, immediately. And the reason I think they're a benefit is transparency in terms of not just what your holdings are, but costs and, costs associated with trading and everything else. You know exactly what's going on. And then in every portfolio, I use what are called tactical managers. And I always use two because one can be wrong. Tactical manager has the ability to go anywhere. They can be all stocks, all international, all Europe, all Japan. They can be all cash. They can be all bonds and so forth. The advantage to this is in an event like 2008, where there's just no place to go for a lot of these managers because by mandate they had to be long-only stocks. Well, that's a detriment, right? And so these tactical managers can prevent volatility in the portfolio, number one.
Okay.
And then secondly, if they feel the need to get out for a particular reason, out of the stock market entirely, or they see some other place that's advantageous, boom, they can go there. But as I say, I always use two.
Yeah. So there's different asset classes, and being diversified and having investments in all those asset classes, I think is important. What about real estate? How are you advising your clients on real estate, and what type of real estate?
So again, this may not be appropriate for everybody, but in general, if cash flow allows, I definitely recommend residential real estate as part of everybody's portfolio. And if you're a business owner and you can swing it, your place of business is a great thing to add to your portfolio as well. And if nothing else, it's sort of a built-in retirement plan.
Sure.
In the event you close your business or sell it, you can always rent that out. So, yeah, absolutely. Real estate's definitely something I'd add to a portfolio.
So, Brad, I've got people listening that have mortgages, and especially after the financial meltdown, I think we look at debt a little bit differently than maybe we did beforehand. And good or bad, I think in some situations you can go overboard, as well as I feel you can be conservative sometimes. What is your thought as far as paying off your mortgage, borrowing against your home if you don't have a mortgage? How do you structure that and advise your clients in that arena?
So there are supposed experts out there writing books and giving speeches, and they sell books because this message resonates with people, paying off your mortgage, particularly, before, right before retirement, if at all possible. I frankly don't see the logic in this at all. Given how low interest rates are, the fact that you can deduct the mortgage interest expense on your tax return, secondly, and then lastly, the use of leverage is a beautiful thing. So, if your house is going to appreciate, if your home's going to appreciate 2.5% a year, which historically that's exactly what it does, just with the rate of inflation. And you can get 5 or 7, or 9% in a diversified portfolio of equities. Why would you do that? In other words, I think cash sitting in equity in a home is a poor place to put money to work.
I totally agree with you. Leveraging to build wealth is one of the magical things that we can do. The only thing you have to look at is just to make sure you're doing it financially smart and not doing the things that people did before the crisis, and they're not in a position to be able to make those payments when they're borrowing against their mortgage. So it's just really strategically planning out what's best financially for you. And Brad, what about your forecast for the economy and the stock market? Since we all have an opinion, what's your crystal ball say?
My crystal ball says, it's interesting. Yeah, there are many, many opinions out there, and that's honestly what makes a stock market, right? So for everybody that thinks a stock's going to go down, someone else thinks it's going to go up. That's why we have a market. So I'm generally very sanguine on the economy in general, particularly the U.S. economy. And actually, I just received this information this morning. I wanted to share it with your listeners. So the U.S. Treasury Department said its borrowing from October through December will be the lowest for the period in 7 years as the economy gains momentum, which boosts tax receipts. So the government's borrowing less money.
Sure.
Okay. Second, U.S. budget deficits have been falling since 2009. It's currently 2.8%, down from 9.8% of GDP. So that's positive. The U.S. economy recovery continues to move solidly forward. The bottom line. So this is an interesting report, too. So U.S. domestic product grew at 3.5% annualized from July to September, the last quarter. That exceeded the 3% that forecasters said was going to happen. So, clearly our economy is gaining traction.
Sure.
And then lastly, jobs, right? So the economy gained 227,000 jobs this year, up from 194,000 for the same period last year. So unemployment is currently at 5.9%. That's a number some people would quibble with, but be that as it may, that's being reported. By the way, it was 7.2% a year earlier. So housing starts up. That bodes well for you.
Yes, it does.
Let's see. Interest rates will ebb and flow, but right now interest rates are very stable. European equities very cheap, 30% cheaper, so because things are generally sliding over there. There's no U.S. recession in sight, in spite of what others would have you believe. And so, the bottom line is being too conservative is going to result in a guaranteed loss because of inflation.
So, Brad, if any of my listeners want to connect with you, what is the best way to do that and to learn more about your services?
They can call me at 425-896-7617. They can go to my website, which is pmwsolutions.net. It's an acronym for Private Wealth Management Solutions.net. Or ask me, they're welcome to email me at bradley@pwmsolutions.net.
Perfect. You can always call into the show as well, 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Brad, thank you so much for coming back in studio and sharing your information with my listeners. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for being here, listening to the show. And I will be back same time, same place next Saturday right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW.
The preceding program is paid for by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Absolute Mortgage Company, NMLS number 81395 and Washington CL number 81395 is an equal opportunity housing lender. Tina Mitchell, MLO number 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Absolute Mortgage. Visit absoluteloans.com or call 888-90-HOMES for cost information.